Queen Xylera stood tall on her raised platform, her iridescent exoskeleton gleaming under the blue light of the royal chamber. 6 slender limbs supported her elegant form, while her upper arms remained crossed in front of her thorax. Her compound eyes scanned the room full of diplomats from across the galaxy. Today was different. Today humans had come to her court. "Announce the Earth delegation," she commanded, her voice like the rustling of dry leaves. The royal herald struck the floor 3 times with his staff. Captain James Mercer of Earth and his delegation approached the eternal throne of the Vesperi Empire. 5 humans entered the vast chamber. They looked soft and pink to Xylera. No exoskeleton, no proper antennae, just strange fur on their heads and faces. The queen had studied reports about humans, of course. A young species that had somehow survived despite their physical weaknesses. They had spread quickly through their corner of the galaxy using clever technology rather than natural strength. You stand in the presence of Her Immortal Majesty, Queen Xylera the 14th, ruler of the 3 spiral arms, commander of the eternal swarm, the herald continued. The human leader, this Captain Mercer, stepped forward. Unlike the other alien ambassadors who kept their eyes down in proper respect, this human looked directly at her. Xylera felt a strange sensation in her thorax. Was it anger? No one dared to meet her gaze so boldly. "Queen Xylera," Mercer said, performing the greeting gesture his team had been taught. "Earth thanks you for this audience. We bring greetings and hope for friendship between our peoples." His voice was deeper than a Vesperi male's chirping tones. Something about it made her antennae quiver slightly. "Captain," Xylera replied, "the Vesperi Empire has ruled this sector for 10,000 cycles. Many species serve under our protection. Perhaps humans will join them soon." Mercer smiled, a strange facial movement that Vesperi biology couldn't replicate. "We come seeking allies, Your Majesty, not masters." A gasp went through the court. No one spoke to the queen this way. Her guards' pincer hands moved to their weapons. But instead of rage, Xylera felt curiosity stirring within her. "Leave us," she suddenly commanded. "All of you." Her royal advisor, Kraz, stepped forward. "Your Majesty, protocol demands." "I said leave," she repeated, her voice hardening. "Except the human captain." The court emptied quickly, the other human diplomats looking nervously at Mercer as they were ushered out. Soon, only the queen and the human remained in the massive chamber. Xylera descended from her platform, her movements fluid despite her armored body. Up close, Mercer noticed subtle patterns on her carapace, symbols of her royal lineage. "You are either very brave or very foolish, Captain," she said, circling him slowly. "Do you know that I could have you executed for the way you addressed me?" Mercer remained calm. "I meant no disrespect, Your Majesty. On Earth, the strongest relationships begin with honesty." "Relationships?" Xylera clicked her mandibles in what might have been amusement. "Most species simply beg not to be conquered." "Humans don't beg," Mercer said. "We adapt, we learn, and we offer value to those wise enough to see it." Xylera stopped directly in front of him, her towering form casting a shadow over the human. "And what value might humans offer the Vesperi Empire?" "A fresh perspective," he answered without hesitation. "New technologies, cultural exchange, things your empire hasn't seen in those 10,000 cycles you mentioned." The queen felt something strange stir within her, a feeling unknown in her long life. This creature, this human with his soft exterior and bold words, was affecting her biology in ways she didn't understand. "Follow me, Captain," she said, turning toward a private door behind her throne. "Let us discuss your species' potential in more comfortable surroundings." As the door sealed behind them, neither the queen nor the human captain realized that this private audience would change the fate of both their species forever. Deep within the ancient tunnels beneath the Hive City, Xylera and Mercer found refuge in a forgotten royal sanctuary. The chamber, built centuries ago as a hiding place during times of war, still functioned, its bioluminescent walls providing light, its hidden systems producing clean air and water. 3 weeks had passed since their escape. Lyra sat watching their daughter, who lay in a makeshift crib fashioned from soft materials Mercer had gathered. Lyra has grown again, she observed, using the name they had chosen together, a word from human language that meant harmony. Mercer nodded, amazed. She's developing faster than any human child would. Look at her eyes. They track movement perfectly now. Their hybrid daughter was a miracle. Born just 3 weeks ago, she already showed the development of a 3-month-old human baby or a newly molted Vesperi nymph. Her exoskeleton shifted color with her moods, blue when calm, purple when excited, gold when hungry. The human DNA in her has unexpected properties, Lyra said, watching as Lyra reached up with 5-fingered hands that ended in delicate Vesperi claws. She adapts and grows in ways neither of our species can. Mercer sat beside the former queen. Have you made contact with any of your loyal supporters? Dr. Zilks sent a secure message yesterday. Vizara's rule grows harsh. She's ordered genetic testing of all noble families to ensure purity. Lyra's compound eyes darkened with anger. She calls herself the Purifier Queen. What about Earth? Has there been any response to my message? Lyra shook her head. Earth's government is hesitant. They say this is an internal Vesperi matter. Mercer sighed. He had hoped his people would send help, but politics always moved slowly. We can't hide forever. Eventually, Vizara will find us. As if sensing her parents' concern, baby Lyra began to cry, a sound that was part human wail, part Vesperi chirp. Lyra picked her up, and something remarkable happened. As she held her daughter close, both began to glow with a faint blue light. What's happening? Mercer asked, alarmed. Lyra's eyes widened. I can feel her thoughts. Not words, but impressions, feelings. She looked at Mercer in wonder, some kind of telepathic bond. Mercer watched in amazement as mother and daughter communicated in this new, impossible way. When the glow faded, Lyra seemed changed, her eyes brighter, her movements more fluid. It's not just Lyra who's evolving, she said quietly. I am changing too. The human DNA from the pregnancy. It's altering me. She demonstrated by placing her hand on the wall. To Mercer's shock, her exoskeleton briefly matched the wall's pattern. Perfect camouflage. I've never been able to do that before, she explained. Chameleon abilities are found only in scout castes, never in queens. And there's more. She closed her eyes in concentration, and small cuts on her arm, battle wounds from their escape, healed before Mercer's eyes. Accelerated healing, he whispered. Like Lyra. We are becoming something new, Lyra said. Neither fully Vesperi nor human. Something better. That night, as Lyra slept, they planned their next move. Using Lyra's new abilities and the knowledge from loyal supporters, they mapped Vizara's defenses. The sacred chamber of queens, Lyra said, pointing to an ancient structure at the heart of the hive. That's where she'll be most vulnerable. During the renewal ceremony, even her guards must stand back. When? 7 days from now. The end of the mourning period for my death. Lyra's mandibles clicked with determination. She thinks I'm gone. She's wrong. We'll need help, Mercer said. I have an idea. Some of the human scientists who were studying our child's DNA, they might still be loyal to you. Lyra nodded. And there are hive clusters in the outer regions that would never accept Vizara's pure blood ideology, especially once they see what we've become. As they finalized their plans, baby Lyra stirred in her sleep, her tiny body glowing briefly with blue light. The child of 2 worlds was dreaming, and somehow both parents could sense her dreams of a future where barriers between species fell away. Lyra and Mercer looked at each other, their mission clear. They would reclaim the throne not just for themselves, but for their daughter, and for the new future she represented. Queen Lyra's private meeting chamber buzzed with tension. Around the crystal table sat her 5 most trusted advisors, each watching their queen with wary compound eyes. Her body had begun to change. Her normally sleek abdomen now slightly swollen, her iridescent exoskeleton developing strange purple patterns never before seen on a Vesperi. The Hive Lords grow restless. "Your Majesty," said Minister Thraz, his mandibles clicking nervously. "They demand to know why you've postponed the royal inspection." "The Queen's health is not their concern," snapped General Kraz, the oldest of her advisors. His battle-scarred exoskeleton reflected his many years of loyalty. "It becomes their concern when rumors spread," countered Lady Vrex, chief of royal intelligence. "Our spies report whispers in every hive cluster, tales of illness, weakness, even foreign contamination." Silara slammed her hand on the table. "Enough. I am still queen. My condition does not change that." The room fell silent. No one dared mention what they all knew, that her pregnancy was changing more than just her body. The queen, once coldly logical, now displayed emotions rarely seen in Vesperi royalty. She had spared prisoners, questioned traditional punishments, even laughed during a diplomatic meeting, behaviors that frightened her traditionalist court. "There is another matter, Your Majesty," Lady Vrex continued carefully. "Your sister, Princess Vezara, has been hosting gatherings of conservative nobles. They speak of genetic purity, spying on the royal family, Vrex." Silara's voice was dangerous. "Protecting it," the intelligence chief replied steadily. "Princess Vezara has visited the Temple of Ancestors 3 times this week. The high priests have ancient authority to judge royal succession if they believe bloodlines are compromised." The queen stood suddenly, moving to the window overlooking the vast hive city. Her reflection showed the changes in her face. Her compound eyes now had flecks of amber, a color never seen in pure Vesperi. "Your Majesty," General Kraz said quietly, approaching to stand beside her. "There is a solution we haven't discussed. The human." Tilara turned sharply. "What about him?" "Captain Mercer should be informed. His presence could legitimize. Bringing the human here would confirm every rumor." Minister Thraz interrupted. "The court would see it as proof of contamination. Or," countered the general, "it could be presented as a planned genetic experiment. An evolution of our species, the queen, in her wisdom, exploring new paths for our future." Silara considered this. The thought of seeing Mercer again stirred unfamiliar feelings. Anticipation, anxiety, something almost like longing. Before she could respond, the chamber doors burst open. A royal messenger rushed in, dropping to a submissive posture. "Forgive the intrusion, Eternal Queen. Princess Vezara requests an audience with the full court tomorrow at high sun. She claims urgent matters of succession to discuss." The advisors exchanged alarmed glances. A full court session could only be called by the queen herself, or by one challenging her rule. "So," Silara said coldly, "my sister makes her move sooner than expected." She turned back to her advisors, her decision made. "General Kraz, prepare my fastest ship. Send it to Earth with an encrypted message for Captain Mercer. No diplomatic channels. This must remain secret." "What shall the message say, my queen?" asked the general. Silara's hand rested on her growing abdomen. Tell him our alliance has created unexpected consequences. Tell him I require his presence immediately." As her advisors hurried to carry out her orders, Silara remained by the window, watching the 3 moons rise over her empire. For the first time in her long reign, uncertainty clouded her future. The child within her, this impossible hybrid, had changed everything. And somewhere deep inside, altered by human DNA and new maternal instincts, the queen acknowledged a troubling truth. She was afraid. Not for her throne, or even for her life, but for the strange, miraculous being growing inside her. A child that should never have existed, yet now meant more to her than all the star systems in her empire. 3 moons had passed since the humans departed. Queen Silara sat motionless on her examination platform, while royal physicians scanned her body with glowing instruments. Something was wrong. For weeks, she had felt strange sensations in her abdomen. Nothing painful, but unfamiliar pulses that worried her. "Well," she demanded, "speak." The head physician, Dr. Zilks, looked nervous. His antennae twitched rapidly as he studied the bio-readings. "Your Majesty, I must confirm something. Please allow one more scan." Silara hissed with impatience but remained still as the doctor passed a crystal device over her midsection. The crystal changed from blue to purple. "Impossible," Zilks whispered. "What is impossible?" the Queen asked, her voice dangerously quiet. The doctor looked up, his compound eyes wide. "You are carrying offspring, my Queen." Silara stared at him. "That cannot be. The royal breeding cycle is not for another 2 seasons. No genetic material has been approved." "Nevertheless, it is true," Zilk said. "But there is more. The embryo's genetic structure is unusual." "Explain," she commanded. "It contains DNA patterns I've never seen before," the doctor said. "I took the liberty of comparing them to our xenobiology database." He paused, visibly afraid to continue. "Speak now or lose your head," Silara snapped. "The foreign genetic material is human, Your Majesty." The room went completely silent. The Queen's first reaction was rage. Pure, burning fury that surged through her body like fire. She swept her arm across the nearby table, sending medical instruments crashing to the floor. "Impossible," she roared. "Vesperi and human biology are completely different. Our genetic structures are incompatible." "And yet it has happened," Zilk said quietly. "The embryo is developing. It is partly Vesperi, partly human." Silara's mind raced back to that night with Captain Mercer. What had seemed like a momentary indulgence now threatened everything: her reputation, her authority, perhaps even her throne. "No one can know of this," she said. "No one." "Your Majesty," the doctor replied hesitantly, "the Royal Council must be informed. A queen's pregnancy is a matter of state importance." "This pregnancy is an abomination," she hissed. Then, placing a hand on her abdomen, she felt something unexpected, a strange protective instinct toward the life growing inside her. "What would you recommend?" she asked, her voice softer. "Termination would be the simplest solution," Zilk said carefully. "This hybrid may not survive anyway. Cross-species reproduction has never been documented." Silara was silent for a long moment. The logical choice was clear. This accident threatened everything she had built. Yet something held her back, something new and unfamiliar stirring within her. "I will consider the options," she finally said. "Until then, this information does not leave this room." That night, alone in her chambers, Queen Silara stood before her reflection. Her exoskeleton still gleamed with health, but soon her body would change to accommodate the growing hybrid. She placed both hands on her abdomen. "What are you?" she whispered to the life inside her. "A mistake, a miracle, a monster." There was no answer, of course. But deep within her, cellular changes were already spreading beyond the embryo. The human DNA was affecting her own biology in subtle ways, altering hormones and neural patterns that had remained unchanged for countless generations of Vesperi queens. Outside her private sanctuary, rumors had already begun to spread. Royal servants whispered about the queen's unusual behavior, her sudden aversion to certain foods, her uncharacteristic mood swings. In her war chamber, General Kraz, her most trusted advisor, received a concerning report. Princess Vizara, the queen's sister, was holding secret meetings with conservative hive lords. Something was brewing in the shadows of the empire. And across the stars, unaware of the life he had helped create, Captain James Mercer continued his diplomatic duties, never suspecting that he would soon be called back to face a queen whose rage and confusion were matched only by her growing maternal instinct for a child that should never have existed. Queen Silara's private chamber was nothing like Mercer expected. Instead of the cold, metallic design of the throne room, soft bioluminescent plants lit the space with a gentle blue glow. Living walls pulsed with strange patterns, as if the room itself breathed. "Your world has nothing like this, I imagine," Silara said, gesturing to a curved sitting area that resembled a giant flower. "Nothing," Mercer admitted, carefully sitting down. "It's beautiful." The queen moved to a crystal container and poured 2 drinks. "This is royal nectar. Few non-Vesperi have tasted it." She handed him a glass shaped like a seapod. Mercer took a small sip. The liquid was sweet and burned slightly as it went down. "Thank you for this honor." "You speak of alliances and mutual benefit," Silara said, settling across from him. "Yet humans are new to interstellar politics. What do you truly know of the dangers that lurk between stars?" "Enough to know we need friends," Mercer replied honestly, "and enough to recognize power when I see it." The queen's compound eyes studied him. "Your species puzzles me, Captain. Physically weak, yet you've survived. No natural weapons, yet you've conquered your world." "We compensate in other ways," Mercer said with a small smile. "Indeed." Silara moved closer, her antennae flickering with interest. "Your diplomatic file says you were a warrior before becoming a diplomat." "I was a soldier, yes. I fought in Earth's last war." The queen reached out, her segmented fingers lightly touching a scar on his forearm. Mercer felt a strange tingle where her exoskeleton met his skin. "We respect warriors," she said softly. "In Vesperi culture, only those who have fought for the hive may advise the queen." Mercer became aware of how close she was now. Her scent was alien but not unpleasant, like cinnamon and ozone. "Tell me, Captain," Silara continued, "do human diplomats always stare at foreign queens the way you do?" "I was taught to look people in the eye when speaking to them, even when those eyes are like mine." She leaned forward, her faceted eyes capturing the room's light in hundreds of tiny reflections. "Especially then," Mercer replied, not breaking his gaze. Something changed in the air between them. Silara set down her drink. "Vesperi queens choose mates for genetic optimization only. Physical contact for pleasure is considered primitive. On Earth, connection between individuals can be both meaningful and pleasurable," Mercer said carefully. "Show me," Silara whispered, a command more than a request. Later, both would struggle to explain exactly what happened next. Cultural curiosity became something more primal. The queen's royal chambers, designed for solitude, now witnessed the impossible. A union between species separated by millions of years of evolution. Silara discovered sensations her biology had never prepared her for. Mercer found beauty in forms utterly alien to human experience. Together, they crossed boundaries neither species had imagined possible. When morning came, reality returned like a cold wind. The queen stood by her viewing portal, looking out at the sprawling hive city below. "This cannot be spoken of," she said, her voice once again the cool tone of royalty. "For both our sakes." Mercer nodded, understanding the political disaster this would create. "Agreed. What about our diplomatic mission?" "Your people will receive favorable trade terms," Silara said without turning. "A limited alliance may be possible in the future." A royal guard appeared at the chamber entrance. "Captain, your delegation is preparing to depart. The queen has requested you join them." Mercer stood, straightening his uniform. "Thank you for the enlightening discussion, Your Majesty." Only when he reached the door did Silara turn. For a brief moment, something almost human flickered in her alien expression. "Safe journey, Captain Mercer of Earth." As he walked away, escorted by silent guards, neither the human nor the queen suspected that their impossible night together had already set in motion changes that would shake the foundations of both their worlds. Captain James Mercer stepped off the small stealth ship onto Vesperi soil for the second time. This time, there was no formal welcome, no diplomatic fanfare. Only General Kraz waited in the private hangar, his battle-scarred exoskeleton gleaming dully under the purple lights. "Captain," the general said with a stiff bow, "the Queen awaits." "Your message was concerning?" Mercer replied, following the tall insectoid through a series of hidden corridors. "Unexpected consequences." "What does that mean?" The general's antennae twitched. "It is not my place to explain. You will understand soon enough." They entered a part of the royal hive Mercer had never seen before. Organic walls pulsed with life, secret passages designed for the Queen's private use. Finally, they reached an unmarked door that slid open silently. Queen Silara stood with her back to the door, looking out over her capital city through a crystal viewport. Even from behind, Mercer could see she had changed. Her normally sleek silhouette was different, and strange purple patterns swirled across her exoskeleton. "Leave us, General," she commanded without turning. When the door closed, Silara finally faced Mercer. Her compound eyes now had flecks of amber, almost human-like, and her abdomen was visibly swollen. "You're pregnant," Mercer said, understanding instantly. "Impossible, yet true," she replied. "I carry a child that is both Vesperi and human." Mercer stumbled back slightly, steadying himself against a wall. "But that's biologically impossible." "Yes, our scientists have no explanation." She moved closer to him. "Yet here we are." "Why did you call me here?" he asked. "My throne is in danger. My sister plans to use this abomination, as she calls it, to take my crown." Silara's voice softened, "And I thought you had a right to know about your offspring." Mercer's training had never prepared him for this situation. "How can I help?" "My scientists need to understand how this happened. Human DNA appears to have properties unknown to us." She gestured to a door. "I've assembled a research team, both human and Vesperi biology experts." Through the door, he saw a laboratory where scientists of both species worked together, studying holographic displays of DNA strands that twisted and combined in strange patterns. "We've discovered something remarkable," Silara continued. "Human DNA has adaptive properties unlike anything in our galaxy. It can merge with other genetic codes in ways we thought impossible." "And the child?" Mercer asked, his eyes drawn to her swollen abdomen. "Growing rapidly, already showing signs of both species." Something like pride flickered across her alien features. "Strong, like its father." The moment was interrupted by an urgent beeping. A communication panel on the wall lit up with General Kraz's face. "My queen, Princess Vezara, has moved her forces. Royal guards loyal to her have taken control of the Temple of Ancestors. The high priests are preparing a ceremony to declare you unfit to rule." Silara's expression hardened back into the warrior Queen Mercer had first met. "How much time do we have?" "Hours, Your Majesty. We've identified several traitors in your personal guard. Trust no one except those in this room." After the general signed off, Silara turned to Mercer. "It seems diplomacy has failed. Now we need the soldier." "I'll help you," Mercer said without hesitation, "but not just for political reasons. That's my child, too." Something changed in Silara's compound eyes, a softness he glimpsed only once before, on that night months ago. "The royal chambers have hidden defenses," she said, moving to a concealed panel, "and escape routes known only to the Queen." As she pressed her hand against the panel, revealing the hidden weapons cache, Mercer realized with surprise that despite everything, the alien biology, the impossible pregnancy, the looming civil war, he felt drawn to this fierce queen and the miraculous life they had created together. "We protect our child," he said firmly. "Then we deal with your sister." Silara nodded, the queen and the warrior finding unexpected common ground in their shared determination to protect their impossible offspring. Alarms blared throughout the royal medical facility. Queen Silara lay on a specialized birthing platform, her body shaking with contractions. The 3 moons of the Vesperi homeworld aligned perfectly in the night sky, a sacred alignment that happened only once every 7 years. The princess's forces have breached the outer defenses, General Kraz reported, checking the security feeds. We have perhaps 20 minutes before they reach this level. Captain Mercer stood by Xylara's side, holding her clawed hand. Can we move her? Dr. Zilks shook his head. Impossible. The birth has begun. Moving the queen now would kill both her and the child. Xylara groaned, a sound no Vesperi queen had ever made during the traditional royal spawning. Normal Vesperi reproduction was a controlled, almost mechanical process. This was something else entirely, painful, primal, and frighteningly mammalian. My body is not designed for this, she gasped. Traditional Vesperi birthing is nothing like this. Mercer squeezed her hand. You're stronger than anyone I've ever met. You can do this. On the medical monitors, 2 heartbeats pulsed, one with the rapid rhythm of Vesperi biology, the other with the slower, stronger beat of a human heart. Somehow, impossibly, they were in sync. The hybrid is coming now, Dr. Zilks announced. Push, my queen. Xylara's screams echoed through the chamber as her body struggled with a birth process foreign to her species. Mercer supported her while human and Vesperi medical teams worked together, applying emergency techniques from both worlds. Something's wrong, the doctor said suddenly. The queen is hemorrhaging. Her body is rejecting the birth process. Mercer watched in horror as Xylara's vital signs began to crash. Do something. The human doctor stepped forward. Her anatomy is different from ours, but I believe I can stop the bleeding if you allow me to try a human surgical technique. Dr. Zilks hesitated only a moment before stepping aside. Save your queen. Minutes stretched like hours as the medical teams fought to keep Xylara alive. Outside, the sounds of fighting grew closer. General Kraz and the few loyal guards prepared for a last stand. And then, a new sound filled the room. A cry that was neither human nor Vesperi, but something wonderfully new. The child lives, Dr. Zilks said with awe. A female. The baby was placed on Xylara's chest, a tiny being with a shimmering exoskeleton of blue, green, and gold. Her hands had 5 fingers like her human father, but with the delicate claws of her Vesperi mother. Most striking were her eyes, compound like a Vesperi's, but with human-like amber irises at their centers. She's beautiful, Mercer whispered, touching the child's face gently. Xylara's eyes flickered open. Our daughter, she said weakly, proof that our species can. Her words were cut short as an explosion rocked the medical facility. The doors to the birthing chamber burst open, and soldiers wearing Princess Vizara's insignia poured in. Protect the queen and child, General Kraz roared, drawing his plasma blade. The loyal guards formed a defensive line, but they were outnumbered. Mercer grabbed a weapon from a fallen guard. Is there another way out? Dr. Zilks hurried to a wall panel. The Royal Medical Facility connects to ancient hive tunnels, known only to the royal bloodline and chief physician. As Kraz and his soldiers fought a desperate battle, the doctor opened a hidden passage. Mercer carefully lifted Xylara, who clutched their newborn daughter. General, come with us, Mercer called. Kraz shook his head. Someone must hold them back. The old warrior's eyes met his queen's one last time. It has been my honor to serve you, my queen. Now go, save yourself, and the future of our species. As Mercer carried Xylara and their child into the dark tunnel, the sounds of battle faded behind them. The last thing they heard was General Kraz's battle cry as he charged the enemy, buying them the time they needed to escape. In the royal palace above, Princess Vizara sat on her sister's throne, declaring herself the new queen of the Vesperi Empire.